asked them about that one particular part where everybody's talking, and they all cried out Epstein Island. And I went, oh, okay. Now I understand what we're up against.
Wow.
Epstein Island isn't the only sex island.
Hollywood runs on one silent contract. Stay quiet, play along, never question what happens behind closed doors, and if you break that contract, they come for you. Jim Caviezel broke it, loudly and publicly, especially when he started pulling back the curtain on the industry's most buried secrets, and the consequences were brutal. They dismantled his career piece by piece, shut him out of rooms, ridiculed him openly, and worked to wipe his name from the conversation entirely, but through every blow, he refused to bend. A man who chose principle over survival in a town that punishes exactly that. Where others caved, he stood firm, and now he's talking, naming what was done to him, the exclusion, the punishment, the coordinated effort to keep him silent. So what exactly did Hollywood do to Jim Caviezel? What made him a target? And what was he trying to bring to light? I went deep into the story, and what came back will genuinely disturb you.
I will tell you this right now. I would absolutely die. If this were to change the world and get rid of and pornography and all of the 8 arms of this octopus that has to be destroyed, the only way you can destroy it is take the head out. If that hit...
Most Hollywood careers follow a familiar arc. You rise, you peak, you evolve, or you disappear. Jim Caviezel's trajectory, however, refuses to conform to that mold. Look past the noise and the controversies, and what emerges is something genuinely uncommon, not just within the entertainment industry, but in modern public life at large. It is the portrait of a man whose convictions did not merely shape his choices. They became the very architecture of everything he built. Jim Caviezel, known for his brooding intensity and magnetic screen presence, once appeared destined to claim his place among Hollywood's elite leading men. From portraying a soldier in the Second World War to a vengeance-driven swashbuckler to a golfer, then a man without a home, and ultimately the figure of Jesus Christ himself. Caviezel's path has been a compelling odyssey defined equally by achievement and friction. Jim Caviezel entered the world in 1968 in Washington state. A full scholarship to the storied Juilliard School in New York was placed before him. He walked away from it after landing the role of Wyatt Earp in Kevin Costner's production of the same name. The film collapsed at the box office, yet Caviezel pressed forward, taking supporting parts in Ed alongside Matt LeBlanc and appearing as a fighter pilot in Michael Bay's The Rock. By 1997, he had secured a role opposite Demi Moore in Ridley Scott's G.I. Jane. The real pivot came with The Thin Red Line. That production, chaotic in its making yet breathtaking in its vision, earned Caviezel a Most Promising Actor nomination from the Chicago Film Critics Association. He distinguished himself within a cast of towering names, and the industry began to take notice. From there, he collaborated with Ang Lee on the 1999 film Ride with the Devil, which stumbled commercially despite its ambitions. Yet momentum found him again through the sci-fi thriller Frequency, opposite Dennis Quaid, his first genuine lead role. It earned solid reviews for its tension and earned back its budget with room to spare. His filmography expanded with Pay It Forward, where he inhabited a homeless man, and Angel Eyes, a romantic drama alongside Jennifer Lopez. Throughout this period, Caviezel quietly drew a firm line, refusing any scene involving nudity or moral compromise, grounding that decision in his faith and his loyalty to his wife. It was the first clear signal that his beliefs were not background noise. They were in direct, unavoidable tension with an industry that expected silence and compliance in equal measure.
Children, there is something that I can't even fathom. I had no choice but to go in, and I hear the screams in my heart. I hear the screams because of the agents that I got to work with, got to show me things, and one particular time he says, "Are you sure you want to go further?" So
by 2002, Caviezel had landed the lead in The Count of Monte Cristo, an adventure film that earned solid reviews and held its ground at the box office. But the momentum didn't last. High Crimes, Highwaymen, and I Am David each fell flat, failing to leave any mark on critics or crowds. Then came the role that would redefine everything, Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ, where Caviezel was chosen to portray Jesus Christ. And from that moment on, what unfolded behind the camera would change Jim's life in ways no one could have predicted.
What were we talking about?
Caviezel playing
Caviezel.
Christ.
He did something, I think, that nobody else did. And I think he pulled it off because I totally like believed it.
I believed it too.
And it was like, what did he do? He emptied himself out.
Yeah.
And he invited something else in. And he left it. He didn't try anything. He emptied himself out and he meditated. And he let Christ.
Behind the scenes, long before Jim stepped into that defining role in the Passion of the Christ, the ground beneath him had already begun to shift. Caviezel had made it clear he wouldn't bend to Hollywood's unspoken rules, and the industry had quietly started making him pay for it. Projects he pursued were either getting killed before they launched or, allegedly, being undermined from within by people determined to see him stumble. Yet none of that shook his resolve. As a man of deep Catholic faith, Caviezel felt drawn to this role with a pull stronger than career logic. Mel Gibson, knowing exactly what was coming, sat him down and told him plainly, this film could end everything he'd built. Caviezel heard it, understood it, and accepted it as the burden he was meant to carry. Gibson himself later admitted he'd offered him the part, then picked up the phone barely 20 minutes later, urging him to walk away from it. "You'll never work in this town again," Caviezel remembered him saying. "My answer was simple, we all have our crosses to carry." He then reflected, Jesus stirs the same controversy today as he did then. 2,000 years, and the world hasn't shifted much.
It did.
As a human being.
Oh, absolutely.
And kind of him up in his career.
A little bit. Yeah.
Because people associated him entirely with that film, and then they associated him with Christianity, and then they associated him with right-wing politics, and...
Yeah. And then, he got sidetracked by a few guys. I mean, there's some people out there who, like, they get in your ear, and it's like Cassius, talking.
Right.
And they get you up to make a speech somewhere, and next thing you know, it's like, people throwing eggs at you. And it's like, and you wonder, should I even be saying this?
A passionate Christian, Caviezel told the audience at the First Baptist Church of Orlando in 2011. He had learned to accept that the destruction of his acting career was a price worth paying. To speak truth, you surrender everything, your name, your reputation, your entire existence, he declared. Though he called Gibson a grave sinner, he insisted the filmmaker deserved compassion over condemnation. Mel Gibson isn't asking for your verdict. He's asking for your prayers, Caviezel said. The filming process was nothing short of grueling. Caviezel suffered a string of severe injuries, struck by lightning along with the assistant director, an accidental whip strike that carved a 14-inch scar into his back, a dislocated shoulder, pneumonia, and hypothermia endured while shooting the crucifixion sequence in brutal cold. The physical devastation didn't end when cameras stopped rolling. He went under the knife twice for major heart surgeries just to recover from what the role had done to his body.
What did that role change him? Because it seemed to have strengthened his faith.
Sure, it did. Yeah. He got in real tight with it, and I think he had some experiences while he was doing it. He suffered a little, and...
Didn't he get struck by lightning?
Well, there's 2 times there was these lightning strikes happening on this.
Through every hardship endured, Caviezel never once regretted the sacrifice. Released on Ash Wednesday in 2004, the film shattered records and became the highest-grossing independent production in cinema history, pulling in over $612 million globally against a modest $30 million budget. It matched The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King for the most powerful Wednesday to Sunday opening stretch in box office history. Critical reception was divided. Many celebrated the film's raw, unflinching devotion to the source material, while others felt the brutality crossed a line. Yet none of that stopped it from becoming a spiritual and cultural earthquake, with congregations across the country filling theaters together. Caviezel's work was met with near-universal admiration, remarkable given that he delivered every line in ancient languages he had never spoken before. His performance communicated something beyond acting, a kind of suffering that felt real, a spirituality that resonated across borders. But Hollywood wasn't celebrating. Despite the film's staggering success, both Caviezel and Gibson found themselves targeted by the press and quietly pushed out of the industry, their reward for one of cinema's most impactful films being a slow, deliberate blacklisting.
It was a crazy movie because it was a great movie, but it seemed like there was resistance to that movie, which I thought was very strange. There was like Hollywood resistance to that movie. Like people didn't like that you were making it.
There was a lot of opposition to it. And I don't know. I think if you ever hit on that subject matter, you're going to get people going.
That backlash took its toll. The roles dried up one by one, shrinking until they vanished entirely. Then came 2023, and with it, Sound of Freedom, the film where Jim finally began pulling back the curtain on what Hollywood had been hiding. This wasn't just a project for Jim. It was deeply personal. He and his wife have adopted children, some with serious medical conditions, and the film's message wasn't political posturing or abstract ideology, it was lived conviction. Much like The Passion of the Christ before it, Sound of Freedom was met with fierce resistance from the industry, and people couldn't help but ask why. Then, almost overnight, a film exposing child trafficking networks was being dismissed as a conspiracy theory.
This movie zeroes in on the multi-billion-dollar human trafficking industry and honors a hero, someone who saved children from slavery. But to the media, this person isn't a hero. Someone who rescues kids from pedophiles is a villain.
These films are created out of moral panics, they're created out of bogus statistics, they're created out of fear, and with something like Sound of Freedom, it specifically is looking at QAnon concepts of these child trafficking rings that are run by the high-level elites.
For some reason, the entire media is smearing this movie as a dangerous conspiracy theory. The press is saying that the star, Jim Caviezel, is a QAnon guy. And Jim plays Tim Ballard, which is strange because just a few years ago, the same media was celebrating Tim Ballard's heroics. Watch.
In fact, during an interview circulated by Time Angel Studios, the CEO himself pushed back against claims of any political or hidden agenda behind the film. Everyone who's seen this film understands, it was never about conspiracy theories. It was never about politics. The director behind Sound of Freedom, Alejandro Monteverdi, has equally pushed back against claims linking the film to QAnon, telling Variety the media's framing of it was completely off base and deeply painful to witness. I was genuinely unwell. I kept thinking, none of this is right. None of it is true. Watching all that backlash and controversy unfold in real time, it broke something in me. After the film hit screens, a wave of accusations surfaced targeting its creators, its producers, and above all, Tim Ballard himself. Though Ballard had long distanced himself from fringe conspiracy circles, fresh claims of assault and personal misconduct began closing in around him. Yet none of it silenced Jim Caviezel. He kept speaking, kept pushing, kept insisting the world hear what he believed to be the truth. Darkness fears nothing more than the light. When Jim Caviezel declared, "God's children are not for sale," something broke open inside me. This evil cannot go on, and we are the ones who must stand against it. Lord, shield every innocent child. Turning this into politics is beyond ridiculous. This is the kind of issue every single one of us should stand behind, no debate needed. Finally, these predators are being dragged into the light. The truth always wins. Tim and the entire team behind the Sound of Freedom, you made this happen.
It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But I had a lot of experience from the Passion of the Christ, and we were humiliated. We were taken through the ringer in the media. This was before Trump came out and said it was, the lying media and the fake news. And they were fake news back when we were doing that, but we had to fight for everything we had.
Controversies and setbacks never loosened Caviezel's grip on what drove him. Fame and wealth were never the destination, his faith was the compass, and everything else came second. Now, with Mel Gibson by his side, he's stepping back into sacred territory. The two have confirmed a follow-up to The Passion of the Christ, subtitled Resurrection, and Caviezel has said, without hesitation, that this will be the largest film ever made. A release window is still unconfirmed, but the intention is clear. 30 years. Countless roles. And running beneath every single one, a single, unbroken current. Suffering chosen willingly. Injustice witnessed without flinching. A moral architecture built from the inside out. Redemption paid for, not stumbled into. These weren't performances Caviezel was delivering. They were declarations. He wasn't borrowing characters, he was channeling his own convictions through them. Most actors learn to draw a clean line between who they are and what they do on screen. Hollywood doesn't just tolerate that separation, it rewards it. Caviezel never drew that line. He let the two exist as one, and the industry made him pay a real, measurable price for it. Still, he never went quiet. He never softened his edges. He remained exactly, defiantly himself. So the real question isn't what became of Jim Caviezel. The real question is what it reveals, that inside one of the loudest, most transactional industries on the planet, one man refused every compromise thrown at him and held his ground at genuine cost. He didn't play along. He exposed what others whispered about. They tried to erase him, and he kept building. The Passion of the Christ. Sound of Freedom. The Passion of the Christ, Resurrection. Every time the machine moved against him, he moved forward anyway. Most would have bent. Most would have softened the message, taken the safer role, shaken the right hands. He didn't. Not once. What does it mean that a man stood this firm in this industry for this long? It means integrity didn't die in Hollywood, it just got rare. It means one voice, unwilling to be bought, can cut through the noise. The question was never what happened to Jim Caviezel. The question is, why aren't there more who chose what he chose? Drop your thoughts below. Do you respect the stand he took? Was the industry wrong to shut him out? And what does it say about our culture that so few people in his position ever find that kind of courage?